Hey there, and welcome to another episode of One Email, Two Takes. I'm one of your hosts, Will Allred. I'm usually joined by my colleague, Christina Fincess. She couldn't make it this week, but let me give you a brief synopsis of what we're going to do in this show. So we help folks on emails all the time, and the show offers an avenue for us to provide feedback as well as our take, a rewrite of those emails, so you can see exactly how we would adapt that feedback into a real example. And so a quick intro on who I am. I'm Will Allred. I'm one of the founders at Lavender. It's a real-time email assistant. We sit right in the inbox and give feedback on how to write a better email faster. So our product sees millions of emails every single month. And one of the cool byproducts of that is my job. I get to go and talk to a lot of the data that we're seeing coming out of what's driving response rates. So let me showcase this email. It's actually a pretty fun episode because for the first time, somebody has given me their take on their own email. So sort of a students becoming masters episode. So let me read the original email that was sent to me. Hi, Will. I noticed you're hiring CSMs and AMs for your team at Lavender, and I'm curious how your team ensures every customer has a first-class experience, whether they're big or small. Similar leaders see their team face challenges, collaborating efficiently, maintaining personalized services, and lacking visibility and accountability into account coverage, resulting in low NPS and high churn. Blank, the company, helps solve that. Whether it's email, Slack, phone, live chat, or data from your CRM, our company makes collaboration and customer communication seamless to drive retention and expand existing revenue. Will, would you be interested in learning more? So obviously I have a lot of feedback on this. It's a lot of information, right? What's nice is it does start with an observation, right? There's some clear context as to why they're showing up in my inbox. I think that's huge. But the actual length and complexity involved in this message makes it really hard to read, right? If we're looking at the Lavender's email reply data, the emails that get the highest response rate, particularly these cold ones, is 25 to 50 words. This is way more than that. The other thing that I have to point out is, we see a 31% higher response rate when we write at a 5th grade reading level. This ain't there. This is very complicated. Just looking at this sentence here, this is one sentence. That is insane. That's like, look at the size of these words: challenges, collaborating, efficiently, maintaining personalized service, lacking visibility, accountability. That like word salad is making it so hard for the reader of this email to grasp what's going to happen, what I need to gather from this, right? Whether it's email, Slack, phone, live chat, it's just too much. It's too much information for somebody to try to gather. And so, but starts so strong. Having this nice, like, I noticed you're hiring, all these folks. The complexity of the overall message makes it almost impossible to read through and respond to. And so some other things to call out that I really like about this, though, customer support, very simple, clean CTA, very simple, clean subject line that people can quickly see and be like, okay, that's a relevant topic of conversation for me. It's not like over sensational, doesn't give any marketing-y vibes, right? I like the interest-based CTA, could clean it up, make it a little shorter, a little sharper. But that complexity is just driving a lot of challenges. So let's start with their take on their own email. I think this is such a fun activity that somebody's taken our content and turned it into something of their own, right? So here's their rewrite. The subject line is growing pains, which isn't my favorite. Hi, Will. Notice your team is hiring for AMs and CSMs. Guessing the goal is to increase account coverage. Usually, we see leaders shuffle accounts around as they scale, but wonder why CSAT takes a hit. By leveraging our communication hub, we help CS teams scale without the customer feeling the growing pains. Worth a chat. I love it. I love this email. It's like so much cleaner, so much simpler. The logic flows so much better between each sentence. And like the logic above could have been fantastic, right? But it was so complicated that it's hard for me to even make that assessment. Whereas reading through this, it's so clear, so light that it's very easy to like understand how I got there. I, made this note, like I noticed this, guessing the goal is to increase account coverage. Okay, so like what I'm about to say is going to be relevant if that's true, right? Okay, usually here's what I see, adding some credibility to the table. That relatability of like, these folks tend to wonder why CSAT takes a hit. That's a nice, like familiar tone to bring to the conversation that warms them up, keeps their guard down. By leveraging our communication hub, clean, simple way of what we do, we help CS teams scale without the customer feeling the growing pains. Very clean value prop, very easy to gather what it is that y'all do without telling me too much, right? Worth a chat. Yes, let's have a conversation, right? So I mentioned the subject line, not my favorite. It's still a little marketing-ish, right? Like the use of like a verb or an adjective in a subject line tends to trigger in my mind that it's likely going to be some kind of pitch or marketing material coming my way. And so those are things I try to avoid. The other thing is the observation. If you look at like the framework behind this, right? It starts with an observation, and it starts to move into like some insight that they gathered from that information. It was a little obvious for me, right? It's very upfront and very simple, but it's also a little too obvious. Sort of like a duh response. That's it. I think this is like fantastic. It's good to go. The way it is, I offered my perspective, of course, because why not? So I improved the subject and made some tweaks to the observation, which obviously made some adjustments to the rest of the email because everything else had to follow suit. So subject line, CSM coverage. Will, correct me if I'm wrong. It looks like you're hiring for support at a slower pace than sales. We see this all the time. I expect you're rotating your support reps. We can help your CSMs cover more customers. Our company helps CS teams keep up. Our communication hub keeps teams like whatever company on the same page. Want to check it out. I took a slightly different approach. I tried to beef up that observation some. I also use this correct me if I'm wrong language. Sort of invites them to reply, right? It's like, did I get my assumptions wrong? I find that's a very effective language. It works really well in like breakup emails. Learned that from my co-host, Christina. It looks like you're hiring for support at a slower pace than sales. So I'm taking the observation and just making it slightly more nuanced, right? It's not just that you're hiring for this role. It's also in the context of the entire business, which is like you're hiring a lot of sales reps, which means there's growing that's happening. There's probably pain, right? Then I move straight back to, we see this all the time. So I like to always balance, you've got a problem on your hands with you're not alone. And so we see this all the time, builds credibility, but it also just keeps it a safe space. I expect you're rotating your support reps. So back to building credibility, right? Just keep layering it on, which is, I've got a good sense for what's going on. If I'm going to quote one in particular, it'd be Sam McKenna over at Sam Sales Consulting, where she talks about show me, you know me. This is exactly what I'm doing right here. We can help your CSMs cover more customers. Very simple. What I'm hoping to accomplish with this line is, you've got this as a challenge that's growing. We can help them, achieve a better output. Sort of like that gap selling mentality of like, we're going to help you get to a better place. We help CS teams keep up. Very simple, sort of like punchy way to describe what we do. Our communication hub, so more concrete version of what we do, helps teams like blank. So give some credibility again on the same page. Want to check it out. Very simple CTA. So I love that I got to help someone improve their email writing. Super cool. If you would like to submit yours with your own take, please do. My inbox is always open, DMs as well. This was a super fun episode to record. So reach out, but always, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss the next one. These go out every week on Sales Hackers YouTube, as well as through their newsletter. So until next time, good luck.